I've been gassing up Basculegion for plenty of time now. We did a video months, weeks ago, something like that, with Substitute Basculegion. And once again, we simply must cover more content of it farming the living hell out of players. Today, we got some bangers, man. We got Rick, Elias, we got Big Tony, Big Kobo, Tony versus Toother. We got Eternally versus Diamond's Realm for their seasonal series. It's gonna be very exciting today. Leave a like. If you're not already subscribed, go subscribe. I hit 10k subs, we get Joey Week. I'm pretty sure everyone watching likes the content we do together. So if you want a week of us fucking around in whatever metagame it is that we decide to play, it might be some meta that no one even knows exists yet. Subscribe, man. Join the movement. Join the movement. So coming into this game, I'm pretty sure Rick was like either 1-1 or 2-1. I don't really remember. He hadn't started like every week for us though, because dude's a grown-ass adult. He's busy. But on the flip side, Elias started every week and was like 5-1 entering the week. So naturally, one might think Rick's the underdog, but Rick brought a Basculegion. Rick also brought Elias' own Pokemon against him, the Avalugg, which is very, very disrespectful. I love it. But we also see Flamigo. And Flamigo is actually another Pokemon that, if we're gonna be gassing up something new, yeah, Flamigo. It wasn't really a hot take when I started talking about Migo, like right when Xiao got banned. I said, hey, this month's probably not gonna be bad, by the way. It just is kind of natural that the Mon that is also immune to spikes and cooks the most common check to fighting types, that being Amoonguss. It's kind of natural for that to become good, and yeah, we're seeing people really start highly rating it. But in this game, I mean, Basculegion absolutely obliterates this team. You got sub opportunities versus both of Reggie and Vapo. Technically versus Gligar. Like, if you're U-turning with Migo or Flygon on the Gligar, you just go Legion, you sub, and there's not a whole lot Elias can do. He just has to be Roar Vaporeon. That's kind of it. Technically Galvantula could like hard switch on a sub and it'd Volt, and then you'd play for positioning, but it's not like that's the most consistent path. Speaking of though, why there's a Galvantula. Don't worry, it's not Sticky Web, it's something far less useful. Anyhow, Migo lead versus the Flygon. Rick decides, you know what? I'm good. You aren't killing me with anything. So stays in, eats a U-turn, drops the weakest Draco Meteor in my life on the Registeel. But as I said, Registeel is a perfect mon for you to go Legion on. We actually see a double 2 from Rick. Not Rick. This is Elias. Elias doubles out into his Gligar there. Probably predicting something like, maybe, oh god, oh no. Maybe Migo. Probably Migo. And Rick just throws off a Liquid because it doesn't actually matter. If Elias goes Vaporeon, he just subs the next turn. He'd have to proactively Roar to punish Rick, and that's not really a play that's likely to happen. So now Rick gets to go for his Phantom Force. He actually does crit here, but because Vapo was passing Wish to itself that turn anyway, it's a pretty inconsequential crit. And now it just allows Rick to get a Stealth Rock and go back to his Flygon, because you don't want to risk Legion there, just in case the Gligar Toxics. It's like Super Jove if you let it get Poison there. So instead, back to the Legion on the Registeel instead. Get that sub up, and once again, it is time for Phantom Force after some recovery. Yeah, recovery is very needed too. But here's where the game starts. You start seeing it get annoying for Elias here, because you're just locked into this chain versus the Phantom Forcing Legion, and you don't want to Roar there, because then you're stuck at under half. The problem is, no matter what now, you're stuck at under half with this Vaporeon. And yeah, the Phantom Force is not getting any weaker. Now we see 59 from the Legion. And now Mucket becomes the sacrificial lamb for this wonderfully powerful Phantom Force. I'm almost positive. I haven't checked the team, by the way. I'm pretty sure this was a Metronome, though. Oh, and it crits, so we'll never know. But you want to know how I can kind of tell it's Metronome? Because a crit would have to do at least 60. If we're going from 51 to 59 to 60 or more, yeah, that's Metronome. That ain't just damage rolls. So, pretty useful crit anyway, because the Vapo got, you know, evaporated. Get it? And now we see kind of what I talked about, how Elias has to play around the Legion, where you have to just break sub with Galv. Although at this point now you're forced into sack. This time it's the Muck. And I mean, Legion's just kind of obliterated Elias's team. It was dirty, man. It was dirty. But one time he doesn't bring an Avalug and he gets, you know, bodied by Legion is crazy. Gligar switches into the Muck. Best counter to Muck pretty much in the tier, although losing your Eviolite is naturally pretty bad. You still exploit it well enough. Now we see the Migo mirror. Rick decides, you know what? I don't want to lose a speed type. So he goes hard Bronze on Elias U-turns because he's just, I guess, the GOAT or something. And now we see this Galvantula. It's not even specs, it just does 45, which makes me think one of two things. This is either modest Galvantula, in which case, how dare you? How dare you? Or this is a very physically defensive Bronzong. As yeah, no, this should not be doing 45 to a Bronzong with Thunder. I'm sorry, this is a Galvantula. This does not have good special attack. It beats out the Bronzong though. It doesn't matter though. Migo now comes out. The bird is very brave. I lied. The U is very turn actually here. And you go back to Basculegion. And now, guess what's happening again? Substitute time. And you see it's actually a bit of a damage roll here too, which is a little annoying for Rick, all things considered. So as you see on this turn here, he goes for another substitute, but this time the Earthquake actually does destroy the sub. Oh, I lied. Never mind. I think it's this turn here. I know one of these subs was broken by EQ. Okay, I freaking lied to you all. I remember. So Rick subs here. Let me go back to here. So he pain splits on the Registeel. It breaks with EQ. Is it 2 shots the sub? But he subs here. I believe this is a misplay. Because at this point, he's not switching. I don't think there's any reason to assume he'll switch at any point. I think you just kill Registeel and go on with your life. Now, of course, he did switch. I just don't really like what this allows, especially because since you've been trying to greed so hard for a sub versus the Registeel by forcing it down with pain splits as well, you saw the EQ is always 2-shotting. So that last turn, yeah, it's pretty obvious he'll sub, and if he hard switches Galvin, you just now die because Bug Buzz is a sound move, it goes by your sub. I think at that point, you just do take your KO. Whether it's Phantom Force you want to go for, Liquid, it doesn't really matter at all. I guess Liquidation, as long as there's no weird roll where this lives, is better, just in case Gligar decides to come out, but I don't really think you care. I can't imagine that Gligar EQ is breaking or killing Legion from 33. It probably is, actually. But yeah, this is a bit of a misplay because it cost you your Legion. Not a huge one, but definitely something that was avoidable because you would have just gotten an extra kill. But, I mean, we see Migo come out now, and it's also going to pick up a kill. Basically, it would just mean that instead of Elias having the Galv out there, it would have been Basculegion killed Galv, and then Elias probably would have to revenge kill with, like, Flamigo, so then you would be going to full health Avalug, if you're Rick, and throwing off a free Ice Spinner and getting a kill. I mean, Registeel would come out, but you would get a spin maybe even. Anyhow, all that to say, Rick won a speed tie versus Flamigo and cleaned up with Brave Bird. But I do believe even with that slight misplay, he was pretty favored just because Avalug had Sturdy. If Lug had lost its Sturdy at some point, yeah, it could have been bad. But it hadn't, so that's how it goes. And Rick takes down arguably the strongest player in the SV pool in our Week 7 matchup against the Melodics, which we lost, but we fielded for fun lineup, so it's okay. Now, Tony versus Toother. Tony wanted revenge for some like ZUPL matchup or something. I didn't really know anything about it. I didn't really care. I just wanted Big Toenail to go out there and win. Unfortunately, Tony did not want to use the original version of this team that I passed him. Yeah, no, that Diancie, though, was something far less sinister. It was a Stonejourner. You may be asking yourself, Rabia, why is there a Stonejourner here? And you know what? I don't blame you for asking that. You're allowed to ask questions. I welcome a little bit of critical thinking every now and then. That's all I gotta say on the matter. And I told Tony, he's like, he was worried Toother would bring a Ditto, because, you know, Big Tony been big hyper-offensing a bit. I'm like, alright, man, just make it an OTR DNC, see if I care. Now, admittedly, Stonejourner doesn't look very good here. Trick Room DNC looks insane here. But, look, man, I just believe we should have given Stonejourner a chance. But yeah, I mean, like I said, preview, Diancie looks like it absolutely rocks Tooth's world. It's just not counterplay to it, and this is kind of how it always goes with offense versus offense. Whoever has the OTR Diancie is gonna win, because this mon is cheating. Screamtail's like a aggressively okay answer into it, but much of the time, you're just trying to stall out their Trick Room turns by using Screamtail as like something thick enough to take some hits. It's not exactly the most reliable means. But also, of course, Toxtricity looks great here. No normal resist. You've got Chinchino, which can Terra into a normal. Normal immunity, even. But it's a Chinchino, dude. Like, excuse me, but I'm just not moved by that. And Toxtricity, even if you want, you could just, like, overdrive. It's fine. You know, break its sash or kill it if it's not sash. The one thing you gotta be scared of if you're Toenail this game is the opposing Titan. Sandslash is just, you know, you're still slower under snow, and you got your own Alolan Ninetales. So, yeah, kind of a little bit annoying to be able to support their own mon. You may also be wondering, Rabia, why is there an Alolan Sandslash? Why isn't that a Titan? Well, you see, I made this team after Titan's ban, but also I think Titan is not good. So, it is what it is. I'm lying, of course, it is good. And yeah, we lead off with Alolan Ninetales into the Glowbro. A Veil gets set, and then immediately, we go out to no VTubers the Toxtricity. By the way, y'all, it's just a random aside I've noticed, but every time I upload a Toxtricity video, it gets significantly fewer views than anything else I upload. And I gotta ask, is Toxtricity just not a liked do people hate Toxtricity? I think this dude's sick. Why does no one want to watch the funny Toxtricity videos where I click Boom Burst and win? It's so sad. Anyhow, though, like I said, we go Toxtricity. We Boom Burst his Glowbro, and it's eject button Calm Mind, which I thought was really funny. It makes sense because you're just trying to get more smart pivots, but that was hilarious there. Also, we Terra Normal behind Veil, so this Life Orb EQ does 0. And if for some reason Toother does tear this Flagon, he didn't take the time to calc, obviously, is what happened there. Oh, he miscalced, apparently. But he gets evaporated, and now Arcanine's E-Speed isn't enough either to kill off our Toxtricity. So we get another KO. Switch here, you probably could just sack, but it's fine to preserve that for later. We got to the rat incident. We've got Ironhead. Toother's got the wrong EVs, because you're supposed to put the last 4 into HP. So he doesn't get his berry, and Ironhead kills. Ironhead doesn't kill Titan, by the way, under snow otherwise. It does, I think, 56 to 66, which is enough for us to go into, like, because keep in mind these snows are running out. We could go Scyther and live Ice Shard. I think it lives Ice Shard, at least. I might be wrong. It's either go Scyther and live Ice Shard, or go out to Chinchino and just kill it from there. If you really wanted, you could even go Chinchino and just Encore the Titan. Like, it either Ice Shards you, and, you're faster. Or not you're faster. It either Ice Shards Chinchino, you go down to your Sash, you Encore lock it, and then you would be able to get the revenge kill with your Alolan Ninetales. Or, it would EQ as you go down to Sash. Or no, it would have, or you lock it to EQ because of it killing the Sandslash. I don't know why I can't speak. In that case, though, you would then just go Scyther, revenge kill it with close combat, and you'd be chillin'. Or Trailblaze, though I don't think Trailblaze would be enough. Anywho, Sandslash EQs a Glowbro, it dies to a Flamethrower. Name 5 women, the Diancie comes out, sets up the Ruminator, hits that Slowbro with the Gyop Gyop. Little meteor beam there. Ninetales comes out. It thinks that it's gonna be able to win the game. It cannot. Although it can pretty easily stall at Diancie. I saw the sequence and was very depressed. It also didn't reveal Pain Split. I'm not too sure about Pain Split as a move on this Pokemon, especially on Hyper Offense. But, hey, stopped us from winning. Can't really say a whole lot else. Toxtricity gets sacked though here. Because at this point, I mean, we're just trying to stall out their Veil anyway. And by sacked, I mean we actually simply live the Moonblast because of all those special attack drops. And as Chinchino comes out, it gets hit by that boom boom. Unfortunately, it lives. And then of course here you see knock. That ain't ever killing. We have an Eancy at 53 as well, so this Mon was never going to be able to win from the state. I mean, it would have had to crit like 3 or 4 of those. And we followed up with a nice little KO Moonblast. So Big Toenail gets his win. Rick got his win. I'm very happy to see this happen. And now we get to Eternally versus Diamond's Realm. Now, game 1, Eternally had been deciding, you know what? I think Rhydon has some potential in this tier. And this matchup, yeah, I look at it. It looks so good. You check Tauros, you check Smelly Bolt. You check Klefki technically as well. I was gonna say you check Porygon too, but no. Obviously die to Inteleon. Flamigo, you don't die in one, I guess. Sometimes. But here's this Brave Bird, which is okay, honestly. Rhydon just in general, though, is a pretty decent mon here. And the nice thing, too, since you got the Vaporeon, you have something you can always go out to versus Inteleon. Caveat being that Inteleon will U-turn on the Vapo, and Diamond's actually is a heavy-duty boot set with Taunt. So he's Water Move, Ice Beam, U-turn, Taunt. He can always stop Wish Pass. He can U-turn on any of those Vaporeon switches into, like, say, Tauros or Migo, just something that's very strong and can hit Vapo, or even just go Bellabolt if he needs. Look for a Toxic. He's got some options, though, is what I'm getting at, when that Vapo comes out. So Inteleon doesn't actually end up being much of a momentum sap at all this game. Once again, though, the Flamigo is looking like a problem. A massive, massive threat, because, well, Altaria is getting beat down by Brave Bird. Monkey Dory, I don't even need to explain that one to you. It is not a Brave Bird switching. Alolan Ninetales, I don't even need to explain that one to you. It is still not a Brave Bird switching. So it's not the best outlook for Eternally. But like I said, the Dawn definitely puts in a lot of work. Eternally leading Monkey Dory this game. He does end up hard switching just in case of the T-Wave, which you see from Mr. Diamond's Realm. And then the Spike goes up as the rocks go up. Now Eternally gets to Heat Crash here. Break that balloon. Also do 500 million damage to the Klefki. Forces in Mr. Frog just so it can die to 2 Earthquakes. I thought this was very kind and considerate of Diamonds. Instead of going into... I'll be real, I don't know. I think you have to go like P2 there to not lose them on. But admittedly, Belly Bolt doesn't really do anything in this game anyway, other than kind of bother Altarius. It's not that big a deal. Tauros, also, this is what I was talking about. Tauros can come out versus Vapo. And this Terra Normal Body Slam does 1,000,000. I don't think you would... You don't 1v1 the Vaporeon, but you pressure it plenty. Good pivot here, of course, on Diamond's predicting the Q. Good stand by Eternally predicting the U. Unfortunately, here he Heat Crash instead of Stone Edging. He just obviously was looking for Chip on that turn. It wasn't really important to him what he hit. And a little chip on Inteleon even is fine, because since you know it's Taunt, especially after seeing it come in and not take hazards. Now you know you just want to try and beat it down with Vapo Scald slowly as well. So, not that bad. The duck gets frozen, by the way. I thought this was pretty funny. Especially given Eternally is, like, historically, at least this generation, super unlucky. Just to see that immediate freeze, I was like, yeah, this is what we call correction to the mean. Tauros 2 shots to the Rhydon from here. Eternally go into Dory. Or ult, I guess. I would have just gone Dory, but, you know, you can go for a Wisp and Miss instead. That's fine. Now this forces Vaporeon to come back out, lose even more momentum. And now this actually in range of Body Slam from the Tauros, which is, yeah, that's impressive. I don't know how this happened. Now the Altaria actually just ends up getting sacked. And then this very funny play happens here. Inconceivably, a Throat Chop comes out. Now, this damage doesn't really matter because nothing really is needing that chip to revenge kill Tauros. Maybe Alolan Ninetales appreciates it, because you're not dying in one to Body Slam, although, Steel Move, yes, you will die too. Dory, of course, faster and would kill from full. I just thought it was so funny, because I'm like, what are you predicting exactly here? Are you predicting Terra Ghost? Because I don't think I've ever seen an Altaria use a Terra that wasn't Steel or Poison. Or maybe Fairy. Like, And given it at 68 with Slam, yeah, if it Terra steals, you just kill it anyway. So, a little bit of overthinking there, but it happens, man. P2 comes out to check the Dory. It gets Udon. I lied, it got Psychicked. But it also did immediately thaw, so this freeze from earlier literally mattered none. I guess because of Incineroar being a fire type, its warmth just... It thawed the P2. Very kind of considerate from the WrestleCat. Flamigo now gets knocked, which is good and bad. It's good because, okay, now Ninetales is faster. But it's bad because, okay, now it can switch up moves. I think overall, though, it's a net win. Tails able to come out now. Take a million from Brave Bird. Throw off the weakest Blizzard that you and I have ever seen. And now the WrestleCat comes back out versus the Duck. As Tauros gets doubled back in, Diamonds is like maximizing the hell out of this low HP Tauros. His Tails is thrown out to be sacrificial fodder. Dory now has to be thrown out. Psychic is getting a kill here. Teleon is picked to be the sacrificial lamb from Diamonds this time, as now the Keys comes out and Eternally decides, I've had enough. Tauros doubled back in again. Dory, Terra, Dark, just in case the Keys went for T-Wave there. Works out pretty nicely for him. And now Eternally decides, man, I've had enough. Goes Incineroar again on the Duck, ready to knock someone's block off. It eats a T-Wave. T-Wave, Shmee-Wave, man. All I know is you don't need that Eviolite anymore. This, of course, makes it a lot easier for Monkey to break through now. Keys comes back out, eats a Wisp. This is like the least consequential Will-O-Wisp you will see today. That mom being burned or not does not matter. And we actually see a full pair there. That actually kind of threw the game for a loop. You'll see how close this end game is, but this Incineroar... God, I can't talk. It definitely went for either Blitz or Parting Shot, though. P-Shot would have just meant that you got Scarf Monkey Dory back out, and you were getting a free kill. I think P2 is a good amount of the time, at least 2-shot after the rock. So, yeah, not the best. Not the best for Eternally, but I guess it's okay. God, I keep having a cough. It's so sad. Oh yeah, there you go. Easy 2-shot from that range. So P2 now gets KO'd, but you had to eat a para for no reason. So now the Bad Faith Flamigo comes out, CC's the Terra Dory. And now you can see the game gets real close, but Vaporeon just barely holds on. Lives that CC. And KO's back with a Scald. Look at that, Eternally. So well done. You're not washed up, my king. You're not washed. And we get to game 2. And Diamonds brought that bird that Eternally hates. Another Oricorio. You thought because we banned the 2 good ones that you wouldn't see it anymore? You thought wrong. We are actually getting to a point where we may just take unilateral action against all Oricorios. Because so far, it has proven to not matter which Oricorio it is. They all do the same damn thing. And it's kind of interesting because if you were watching the channel, of course, earlier in the generation, we banned both Pom Pom and Sensu near the start of March. And then it was actually the Fire Oricorio. I'm trying to mispronounce it really hard here, but I actually have the correct pronunciation in my head, so I'm not even gonna, like, give it the honor of me saying it wrong. But Fire Oricorio ended up being good, and that's because everyone back then was super obsessed, one, with making use of how Terra interacts with Revelation Dance, but also we didn't have grassy terrain stuff back then, so there was no grassy seed set to consider on Pawuga, or even, I guess, on base Oricorio. But now that grassy terrain is one of the 2 strongest hyper offense styles in the tier, well, it's kind of not worth running the Fire Oricorio over this one. Yeah, this one doesn't have as good of a defensive typing, but it makes better use of the seed because you're not super weak to Stealth Rock. Unlike Fire Oricorio, which is going to be taking half its HP, you don't take nearly as much, so it just makes it easier to set up upon switching. Also means you can, like, actually switch into more attacks on that first turn and look for Roost into Quiver Dancing. Not that you really want that to happen, but, you know, if the game calls for it, the game calls for it. And I mean, Eternaly's team, I don't even think it's, like, weak to Oricorio, but trust me when I say it finds a way to feel weak to Oricorio. And I mean, you also have Espeon, which in theory pressures Incineroar and Bronzong, I guess. Same with Grafaiai. It kind of also will be doing the same thing. Even Ninetales doing a nice job of pressuring the two mons that Pawooga's checked by. So I think this is a very sound and logical terrain. So let's see how it goes. So Sargrassi is led with the Thwackey. It's going to U-turn out on this Incineroar into the Espeon. And Espeon is immediately going to be blasted by Flare Blitz and die. So the name High by very thematically accurate. I think too this crit probably mattered just because it's definitely a eject button on this team. So crit kind of sucks. Hitmonlee now sent out. He Swords Dances for whatever reason, because he predicted switch, just to be a Will-O-Wisp. So once again, Hitmonlee doing just about as much as I expect from it in a battle, which is nothing at all. It's such a bad Pokemon. Oh my god. I'm so glad that Diamonds got punished there too for using this. Lee deserves a nickname. Another person on your team doesn't. You know who. And as we see here, mid-battle crash out by Eternally in the chat about Oricorio here. Ignore what's happening here right now. The chat is the highlights. I'm gonna get out of here. Yeah, get out of here. No one cares. As we get that freaking bird that I hate. That freaking bird that I hate. That freaking bird. If you know, you know. Shoutouts to Terra Electric, Paliatoros. Oh god. Anyhow, somewhere along the way, Hitmonlee died as it kept running into a rocky helmet. Graf is now out here to Sword Stance up, take 1,000,000 from Foul Play. But, hey, I mean, you got your seed. You can kill the Incineroar very easily with Gunk Shot, whoops. Oh, well, you got your seed, you can kill it easily with Gunk, whoops. Those misses definitely suck. Because Grafaiai isn't gonna die to, like, anything. Pretty much what would have happened from there is, Taurus would have come out, got the Intimidate and Revenge killed, but now you have no kill. You just lost half your team for damn near nothing. Oh, don't worry, more than half your team. You lost this bitch too. And Incineroar doesn't even die. I lied. Dies to recall here. Now the Tails comes out. At this point, this is Diamond's deciding, you know what? It's time. That bird that he hates is the only way that I can win. And he begins quivering. Now, of course, you saw the damage. That is a Choice Spec Sylveon. So even behind a Veil with +1, Sponges takes so much damage still, which is quite evil. Quite disgusting. But Ori's gonna continue quivering up. And I mean, literally all Eternally has at this point, especially because he's committed, he just has to hope he crits. Surely one of the 16 will crit, right? I mean, there's no way that Oricorio would be able to bullshit its way to another victory. I refuse. That's just not on the cards. It's simply not. Eternally is an improved player. He does not lose to Oricorio anymore like this. He will win. I have faith in my co-lead. I know he can do it. I know that he can overcome the barrier of Oricorio Pawoo. Oh, see, look at that. He did it. Yeah! And yeah, I mean, Diamonds, at that point, I think you do have to just terrestrialize. The, I guess the conundrum is Eternally hadn't terrestrialized yet, and he has a full health Flygon, potentially his Terra Steel, and then a full health Paladin Taurus Aqua, which, once upon a time was a Terra Electric set. Maybe this time it's Terra Steel, and, you know, Terras and then CCs to kill. But, if you remember the Pom-Pom game versus Etern, then you'll recall that Diamonds' Pom-Pom did not die from full to a Tauros CC. So we could have had that sequence play out again, which would have been very, very poetic. But Eternally, I guess, kind of gets over his fear of an Oricorio. I say kind of because he still definitely hates that Pokemon. Do not get it twisted. But if all y'all enjoyed, India's getting into a very funny spot. It does seem like people are happy, at least post the Titan ban. So, I mean, I'll take it, dude. I'm always happy when the community is happier. And now our focus probably does end up shifting to something about grassy terrain. Whether or not anything happens, of course, I don't know yet. There's a chance nothing ever happens to it in terms of, like, banning Thwackey or something. And we just end up keeping it. Maybe another Oricorio manages to get banned. I have no idea right now. But I do hope all y'all enjoyed. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.